Welcome to the morning after CFFL edition, week 13. Welcome to the CFFL's morning after. We have finished up the regular season, so now let's get into the week that was and preview the playoffs straight ahead. I know I had previously said earlier we're going to do the CFFL honors and the all fantasy team, but we're going to actually spread that out. All fantasy team will be next week, and the CFFL honors will be the week after, so 14 and 15, and then 16. I take a look back at the year that was. But now let's talk about the week that was and go ahead with the action from the league in week 13. First game, we saw the Garbage Men take down the Kongs 97 to 49.5. Andrew Luck and DeAndre Hopkins had a huge day, 54.5 points combined. Garbage Men got their win. The question is, did the Bone Storm aid them with a loss in their game? So we'll have to see the other results here and find that out. Next up, we saw the Bone Storm. They did take down Team LBM 85 to 48. Bone Storm advanced, and they are the number 5 seed in the playoffs. Keenan Allen had a big week, his first of the year, really. Andy Dalton was the only one, was the top scorer for Team LBM, and a disappointing year for them as they finished out of the playoffs. Next up, we saw the Gargoyles and the Bruisers in a playoff game. Winner in, loser out. Bruisers win by a point. St. Louis defense had 17 points for the Gargoyles. Phillip Rivers at 21 for the Bruisers as they advance to the playoffs and are the number 6 seed. Other disappointing finish from the Cardinals as they finished 5-8 out of the playoffs. They fall to the Horn Dogs 79.5 to 65.5. Alshon Jeffrey, LaShawn McCoy, and C.J. Anderson combined for 55.5. Julio Jones at 16 and a good effort for the Cardinals, but they fall and they will move into the consolation round now. Horn Dogs win. Question is, does that mean that they got a first-round bye? That all depended on In Rogers We Trust. They had a big game against the Black Dingoes, and let's see what that one. Result of that one is the Black Dingoes take down In Rogers We Trust 71.5 to 60.5. Antonio Brown, who had a late 14 points, 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion late, was enough to put him over the top. Garbage time, some might say, but enough for a win for the Black Dingoes as they pull off the win and cost In Rogers We Trust a bye. They are the number 3 seed now in the playoffs. Steve Smith and Quan Bolden, a half-point combined for them. Main culprit in Rogers We Trust losing. Finally, this week, we saw the number 1 seed, the Badgers, take down the Donkeys 96 to 64.5. Donkeys have the worst two-year stretch in league history since the 2009-2010 Badgers, who also went 4-22 in 2 years. Drew Brees and Trey Mason combined for 51.5 for the Badgers, as they also set the record for the most points per week with 76 on the year, although it is an asterisk because it has a flex and a half-point thing that was added this year. So a little bit different. 73 is the record by the Horn Dogs back in 05, 04, something like that. You can check the archives if you're wondering what year it was exactly. On to the Player of the Week. While not the top scorer, Andrew Luck had 370 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, 20 yards rushing, overall 29 points to propel the Gargoyles to their win, although DeAndre Hopkins also did that. A great year for Andrew Luck. Who knows, maybe MVP in fantasy this year and maybe real football too. We'll have to see. Walk of shame this week goes to Jimmy Graham, who had 0 targets, therefore 0 points for the Saints. Saints won, actually played well this week, but Jimmy Graham let down Team LBM. Griff's gripes this week, take a look at Tony Romo. Tony Romo had thrown a touchdown in 38 consecutive games until Thursday. The Gargoyles fall to the Bruisers by 1 stinking point to get knocked out of the playoffs. Thank you, Tony Romo, for ruining the Gargoyles' stellar season, and you too, Adrian Peterson. I'm thankful to know that I'm still the best drafter in this league. Just ran into some bad luck for the 10th year in a row. Wait till next year. Can't tell you're a Cubs fan or anything, Griff. And I actually would like to apologize. I know Marty Schottenheimer is one of our biggest viewers. He loves the show. Always get emails from Marty, so shout out to you, Marty. Hope you're doing well. I don't mean to compare you to Griff's Gargoyles. You actually did win a playoff game. You are 5-13 in the playoffs as a career. Griff is 0-6. I know the 0 part. I don't know what the other number is, but he has 0 for the playoffs. 10 years, no playoff victories. I believe he's made it 6 years to the playoffs. So yeah, 0-6. Sorry, Gargoyles. And if you're wondering what that number is, check the archives that were sent to you earlier in the year. Jovich, top free agent pickup of the week. Ryan Fitzpatrick at 32 points. He's still out there. Team LBM would be a good person to sign him. Granted, he's not going to do that again if Team LBM was in the playoffs. So we'll have to see. That definitely been a good signing there. So take a look at the week ahead. 6 seed Bruisers take on the 3 seed In Rogers We Trust, and the number 5 seed Bone Storm take on the Black Dingoes. 8-5 against 7-6. Also in the consolation round, we'll have Dan's Donkeys taking on Chris's Cardinals, and the DK's Kongs taking on Team LBM. Also, Chet's Garbage Man will take on Griff's Gargoyles. The winner of that will play the lowest seed remaining, and the lower seed will play whoever loses that will play the higher seed remaining. Not really too important a game, just something for them to do. So we'll take a look at the playoffs and preview them right now. And again, next week, like I said, we will see the all-fantasy team will be debuted next week on the morning after. Previewing the playoffs, taking a look at the Badgers, who are the number 1 seed. They are 2-0 in the playoffs in their history, only 1 playoff appearance, but it was a championship back in 2012 due to a late garbage time touchdown by Colin Kaepernick. It still stings, Spice. I had the champagne all chilled and I was ready to be popped. But yeah, that late touchdown over the Seahawks, who were just playing prevent defense. And that guy just let it go over his head. He wasn't playing the zone deep enough on 4th and 19 bites. I still remember. It still is painful. Strengths on that team, he has running backs and lots of them. Lamar Miller is the guy who's sitting on the bench. Rashad Jennings, Trey Mason. Pretty good team. Marshawn Lynch, who's a little nicked up. And also Mike Evans, who prior to this week was just on fire. And he is the top target down in Tampa, having a rookie season similar to Randy Moss. It's not quite on that level, but there's some similarities there. Weakness, he needs Julius Thomas to get healthy, and his kicker is one of the worst on a team in fantasy. Not that you would think that important, but you never know in the playoffs. It could come down to kicker, so we'll see. Julius Thomas getting healthy would be a big boost for the Badgers. Number 2 seed, the Horn Dogs, who are 5-5 in the playoffs. They are the 2007 champion. Strengths, running backs. C.J. Anderson, who's really come on. LaShawn McCoy's coming on. Ryan Matthews getting healthy has really been a boost. Pretty solid receivers as well. Weakness is Russell Wilson. If you look at his numbers, he is the number 8 quarterback, but he's very inconsistent. You're going to probably need some rushing touchdowns or some rushing yards out of him. But you never know. He can come up really big, so who knows? He's just inconsistent. Number 3 seed, In Rodgers We Trust, their first playoff appearance in their second year. Strengths, DeMarco Murray's been great. Running backs, receivers 1 and 2, A.J. Green and Emmanuel Sanders are pretty good. Not too bad there. Weakness, Matthew Stafford, who this week was great. Previous to that has been very disappointing. And running back 2, Terrence West, who I heard looks like he's going to be benched this week, so it's probably Jonathan Stewart. Trusting in Carolina. Running back is a bit risky, so there's some holes there, but DeMarco Murray is probably good enough to cover for a lot of it. Number 6 seed Bruisers, who are 1-3 in the playoffs, their first appearance. Sorry, that's spelled wrong. Since 2009, Bruisers did make the Super Bowl previously. I did finish second. Strengths, Matt Forte, Jordy Nelson. Forte is kind of up and down, but he is a pretty consistent performer, and Jordy's been great this year. Weaknesses, the flex, either Delaney Walker, Sammy Watkins. Watkins has fallen off the face of the earth lately, so there's some concern there. And running back 2, Shane Vereen, isn't bad. Questionable, though. You never know who you're going to get in New England. He's got some potential to score a touchdown, but other than that, he's probably looking at about 2 points. There's some questions there. Phillip Rivers has been up and down. So Bernie's Bruisers will have a good chance, though. They have a good team, so we'll see how that plays out this week. And finally, the other playoff preview is on Black Dingoes and the Bone Storm. Black Dingoes are 0-1. Their only appearance was in 2010. Strengths, Aaron Rodgers, Arian Foster, Antonio Brown. Arguably the top trio of any team in the league this year. They put up tons of points when Arian Foster's healthy. So that's really good. Problem with the Black Dingoes is kind of the other team, the rest of the team. Fred Jackson's an okay number 2 running back, when he's healthy, but the other receivers are really nothing to write home about. James Jones, Jason Witten, Larry Donnell. So yeah, he'll need those big 3 to step up, and if they do, they can carry him all the way to a Super Bowl title, perhaps. Number 5 seed, the Bone Storm, who are 2-2. Their only losses in their 2 years were to the Cardinals, who are not in the playoffs, so maybe this is your year, Tony. Strengths, Des Bryant, Demaryius Thomas, who everyone would have predicted at the start of the year were going to be a strength, and amazingly, Justin Forsett. I'm amazed he has not fallen off the face of the earth yet, but he's been great. Pretty much guaranteed, 80, 90 rushing yards a game, 10, 20 receiving. Touchdowns kind of hit or miss, but been good for the Bone Storm. So that's been a strength for him. Questions at this point are Andre Ellington, who has been pretty good this year, but he is nicked up. He's starting to wear down. Question is, how effective is he going to be? So that's our playoff preview. Consolation round starts this week, and the playoffs start this week. So I will see everyone next week. Good luck to all. And I'm sorry, Dan's Donkeys didn't play during the regular season, but I am taking you down this week. So see you next week with the All Fantasy team. Bye.